Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about some of the new products from Lisa Eldridge. So I picked up her new skin tint that just came out, two of her new lip pencils, and her new mascara. I've been playing with these for about a week. Done a couple wear tests, I have some thoughts, and I want to do a demo of all these products on camera and go over my thoughts as of having them for about a week. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Colin. I am a non-binary Latinx scientist and lover of makeup with a definite soft spot for any makeup and high-end makeup, and I tend to take a pretty analytical approach to the content I make, be it trying something new or just talking about things I already know and love, and I have new videos every week, so I'd love to have you subscribe. So I fumbled there at the end, but I'm not re-recording that. Okay, so it is the end of the day, but it is nice and sunny out today. Very nice weather. So I am filming in front of my windows with natural light, so the light may change a little bit. It is kind of reflecting off the building across the street for me, so just a heads up, but this is just natural light. Wanted to point that out. I do like to film in natural light. So I didn't pick up Lisa's mascara when it launched initially because I knew I would be making a purchase somewhat soon. My cleanser from her was almost dead. I did buy that back in July, so it's lasted a very long time. So I knew I was gonna buy that, and I figured she probably has something else coming out soon, so I would just wait instead of just buying the mascara. So I did buy the new Kitten Lash mascara. I bought two of the new lip pencils. I bought the shades 1N and 2W, and I already want one of these. And then I bought the skin tint. This is the Seamless Skin tint in the shade T9. This is a medium golden olive shade, really beautiful, and very, very impressed with this so far. So I'm gonna do an application of this, then we're gonna talk about wear test and all of that, and then I have the pencils. I have some comparisons for the pencils, and I'll finish off the look with the mascara and my thoughts on it after a week. So let's start with the skin tint because that is the thing I think most people are excited about. This is the Seamless Skin Enhancing Tint. Like I said, I got the shade T9. I do think I could probably go a size up in the summer, like probably get T10 for the summer. She is doing a giveaway on her Instagram, so hopefully I win. That would be really cool if I won. And I could get like the next shade up for the summer. But for now, I have T9. It's a pretty good match. Like very, very good match. Having an actual olive undertone in a skin tint is a really big deal. I know the new Kosas one has an olive undertone, but it's a little light for me. So, and it's a little thicker of a consistency, and I really like how thin this is. So this retails for $49. It's not cheap, but Lisa's a luxury brand, and I am perfectly fine with paying that price for her quality. This is the actual component that it comes in. So I know some people didn't like the foundation bottle. I do. I think it's very sculptural and I appreciate that. This is also sculptural. It is shaped like a pebble and it's got a flat side. So just like the foundation, you can have it lay on its side. And the hazards of having a shiny building across the street is I have a shadow and I keep getting hit where I can't see. Really like this. It is significantly smaller than the foundation bottle because it's not made of glass. It doesn't have a pump, all of that stuff. So this will be really nice for travel. It is very liquidy, which I actually prefer in a skin tint, in a foundation even. And you can really hear that when you shake it. You do need to shake it before you use it. I'm wearing no makeup right now. I just have brow gel in that I wore all day to work. This is just my skin with skincare. I've worn this with no skin underneath, with skincare and with primer. And I do have thoughts on how it wears with all of those. But one of the benefits of this is it's basically mostly water and skincare. And then it has those pigments, those blurring pigments and color correcting pigments. So she says you need about 3 drops for your whole face. I do think that's pretty accurate unless you're using a brush and that's gonna like absorb some of the product. So I'm gonna do half my face with my fingers, half the face with my brush, show you how those two work, and we'll get into it. So I'm gonna shake this up. Really do like the component. And then twist it off, and it's just a dropper. So she suggests putting it like on the back of your hand or something, so I will do that. 1, 2, 3. I'm meant to get that on camera, but that's about 3 drops right there. And you can see it is a very liquidy consistency. So I'm just gonna tap this around, and I still have about half the product there. I'm gonna do this side with fingers. So you can see I have a little redness around my nose today. I didn't yesterday, I wanted to film this yesterday. And then, you know, I get some spots and stuff from shaving my face. And this is very liquidy, but just really melts in. It feels like I'm putting moisturizer on. Like, it doesn't feel like I'm putting any makeup on. It's very thin. Once it's in, I don't feel it at all. You can build it up, but I think it works best if you like let it sit for a couple minutes and then try to build it. So you can see it's already evened out some. I still have a little redness right around my nose, but you can see overall the side of my face is looking just a little bit better. Pick up a little bit more and put it up here. And you can see it just melts in really nicely. I do get a little red from rubbing my face, so once I stop, it should help as well. And you can see it's already getting a little less red. And I think once it has a little time to settle in, because there's so much skincare in there, and water, as it like starts to absorb into your skin, it looks better after you give it a couple minutes. It starts to look a little more blurry, a little more natural. And one of the things I like about this so much is it really looks like you're not wearing anything at all. I have worn it with a full face of makeup as well, but even if you just wear it by itself, it doesn't really look like you're wearing any product. I'm gonna take up a little bit more, just tap it right here, and lightly press. It's a really nice shade match, but like I said, it's March, it's Seattle, I live in Seattle for those who don't know, so it's not really, we're just starting to get some sunny days. I haven't really seen the sun much in months, so I will definitely start getting darker soon. Even if I wear SPF, it doesn't matter, I just instantly get darker when I'm in the sun. The benefits of being Mexican. And this is like my perfect kind of sheer coverage for every day. I do have concealer here, so I could add that if I want, but it just looks so natural. And like I said, I did do a couple wear tests, so I do have some footage of that. So I'm gonna pick up the rest and kind of put it around the side of my face. I'm gonna do one more drop. So this is about 4 drops total now. And I have a big head. I am 6'2", I'm a large human. I've tried this with 2 brushes so far. The Eldridge foundation brush, which I do like, and then the Sonia G, this is the jumbo base brush. So I'm gonna start with this so you can kind of see what that looks like. It's a really nice paddle brush. I love this brush, especially for concealer. I mean, it also works great with foundation, but it works well to brush things in with light layers. You can see it does work with fingers. I have not used this with a sponge. I do think it would soak up some of the product because that's what sponges do. I just hate the feeling of a sponge on my face. I can't do it. I have one on hand in case I really need it, but I just can't do it. And then I'll show you with this brush. I think it does shear it out a little bit, so if you want a little bit more coverage, your finger is the way to go, which Lisa does say is her recommended method of application. But it does work really well with a brush as well. And you can see this is what I want my skin to look like every day. I mean, yesterday it did look kind of like this by itself, but not today. I'm just gonna tap a little bit more in for that. I just have a little bit more redness around my nose today. I did not sleep well last night, had weird dreams, and slept weirdly, and stayed up too late reading, so I'm not surprised. And I would say this isn't overly dewy or overly shiny. I do have, for context, I do have normal to oily skin. I like to say balanced. Most of my skin isn't dry. I can get a little dryness down here where I shave, but that's really more of an effect of shaving. And my nose gets a little oily throughout the day, but overall my skin isn't really oily. It's never really dry It's just kind of there. But if something is too dewy, it definitely will look oily on my skin because I don't have dry skin. Okay. So that is my full face covered in this, and I really like it. Normally I would also go in with a little bit of concealer. I want Lisa to come out with one, but for now, I've been using my House Labs, and I will just take a little bit there, a little bit there, maybe a little bit underneath. You can build this up a little bit more under the eyes too. And then I would cover, if, like right today, I have a little redness from shaving right there, so I would cover that, but I don't feel like it at the moment. I'm just using the same brush. And I have done, like I said, 2 12-hour wear tests, and I've worn it a couple days outside of those where I wasn't specifically like doing check-ins. So that is the skin. You can see there's a bit of a nice glow because of the skincare, but it kind of looks like my skin does when I just have skincare on. I don't think it looks more shiny than it did before I put it on. And you can definitely powder it. I will show you that real quick too. This is the House Labs powder. It's one of my favorite loose setting powders, not just. So if you were worried about longevity or looking oily, especially through my nose, but you can see it doesn't really dull the shine. That's one thing I like about this. It can like mattifies some and blurs, but it doesn't overly. I have been wearing this every day and I love it. Okay, so before we continue and before I do final thoughts and talk about the wear tests, let's talk about the lip pencils and the mascara. I will do the mascara first just because it should be fairly easy, and then we'll do the lip pencils. I'll use one of them, and then we'll do final thoughts. So, the mascara. This is the Kitten Lash mascara. It is $30-something. I don't remember the exact price. It's a bit much for mascara, but I've definitely paid more. It's on par with like the Victoria Beckham, which is the one I've been using for the last few months. The Victoria Beckham is a 2B mascara, and really loved it, but I do feel like right at the 3-month mark, it wasn't my favorite, but I did really like it for daily looks. But I feel like at the 3-month mark, it started to like crumble and I'd get tubes all over my face halfway through the day. So I did just get rid of that, and it was in the need for another mascara to use every day. So really happy to try this. So this has a really nice wand. There's lots of little bristles, and this is very lengthening and separating, which is what I want. I have a lot of lashes, but they're very straight. They don't really hold a curl. And if I use something too voluminous, they just get clumpy and I get spider lashes, and I hate that. So I like something more separating, lengthening, maybe a little bit of volume. This is my ideal daily mascara. I've layered this up and done multiple coats, and you can get some volume and some drama. I know, I do know, what is her name? Charlotte Holcroft did a video right away because she's in the UK, so she bought it day of, and she really likes a lot of volume, and she could build this up a lot. But for me, it's my perfect daily, and then I can build it for a little drama if I want. You can curl your lashes. For me, nothing really holds the curl. So I have done one eye curled, one eye without, and they were actually, it does add a little bit of a curl, and it kind of held it right there, and it didn't keep any of the extra curl from actually curling. So I'm gonna show you what it looks like. I will curl just to give you an example. This is my rougher eyelash curler. I really like it. So you can see now I have a little bit of a curl. And if I just quickly brush through, you can see they're darker. They're very fluttery, as Lisa called it. And I just really love the effect. So my lashes are now a lot longer, but each lash is individually coated, which is what I want. I'll do a little bit on the bottom lash as well, and I definitely think if you add more than one coat, you do get some drama, but for like every day, this is what I want. And then on this side, I won't curl, so you can kind of see what I mean. So So that is uncurled and curled. You can see there is a bit more curl here. And I feel like the other day I didn't notice that much of a difference, but I think I did it the other way around where I didn't curl this side and I curled this one. And I think this one just is holding the curl better. So this is no curl with a curler. So I've still been curling my lashes, and this is about the level of curl that most would hold for me. But even some of these are going upward. So it just really depends what you're looking for and what your lash type is. If your lashes will curl with a mascara, I have seen people do that. If you're really straight lashes, you probably want to curl. But I like the way both sides look. This is also a nice component. It is very lightweight. If you have used the Victoria Beckham, that's in like a glass component and is very heavy. This is very lightweight. This would be really nice for a makeup artist like Lisa because it's lightweight. It's not gonna weigh up your makeup kit. So I'm actually okay with that. Okay, and then the last thing is the lip pencils. So these are the new Sculpt and Shade lip pencils, which are different from her others, which are the Enhance and Define lip pencils. I have one of these and two of these. I really wanted more of these, and now I want more of both of these. So I have the shade Sorcery in this, and then I bought N1 and 2W in this one, and now I really want to get N2 and W3 because I've seen what they look like. It was kind of hard to tell on launch day which ones I'd want, but now that more people have swatched them, I know I want more of them. So these are a smaller pencil, but they do have the same amount of products. These are 1.2 grams. These are just a different component. So you can see, I think this has more plastic here than these do. So if I put it down here, they're the same size. These are more of a wood pencil, like traditional wood pencil. And then this is that plastic that you can sharpen. These did each come with a pencil sharpener, which I think is great if you have like one shade that you're gonna wear as your nude lip contour shade. Then you just get a lip sharpener or a pencil sharpener, and this is a really nice, you know, it's a nice little pencil sharpener, and it's got the little cleaner here. If you're someone like me that gets multiple shades, then I just have an excess of pencil sharpeners, which isn't the worst thing, but also is not amazing. So I think what I would love to see is in the future having it like Victoria Beckham has it, where you can have it with a sharpener or without, because you don't necessarily need one with every purchase, but I do really like having this included. Pat McGrath does that too. Pat McGrath has a pencil sharpener in every lip product, so she's not the first brand to do this. So her original lip pencil is very creamy, but it does set down. It is very creamy, very smooth, glides on, but it does set down, and once it sets, it's there for a long time. Everyone want this for most of the day without really needing to touch up. It's a great formula. I love it. These are slightly drier because they are in that wood pencil, but I feel like that adds to the longevity and just kind of changes the formula a little bit. So I'll do some swatches. So this is 2W. It is just a really nice warm nude. It's a little rosy, but a little bit more warm and a little more peach than like a cool rosy, like the cool shades probably are. I did not need to get a cool shade. I don't really have a lot of coolness in my face or in my lips. This I have found is basically just like my lip, mine not showed today, but very similar to my lip color, but more pigmented. And then 1N is a really nice neutral contour. So I'll show it to another one I have that is cool tone, so you can see how it's not, cool tone can be very cool and can be very stark against me. So having something more neutral gives a more natural shadow effect. So this is 1N. And you can see it's a little more neutral, a little more brown in it, but not like cool. For reference, this is Sorcery, which I do really enjoy. And you can kind of see, it's just like a different, you can see it's a little shinier, a little more creamy and pigmented, but it does dry down. So you can see, if I try to blend it out, It's a little more, this is like more emollient. Like I'm trying to think of the right way. Her other formula is a little thicker feeling, like a little more creamy thick, and this is smooth and does buff out, but it's not as thick and creamy as those. Doesn't mean it's dry. It's just slightly drier in consistency, but not like dry. I've used dry pencils. Like I know a lot of people like the NYX ones, but I find those extremely dry and kind of painful to use. And then for comparison, I did grab 2 Makeup Forever pencils, 2 Victoria Beckham pencils, and 1 from Melt. Different formulas. I do have some of the old House Labs ones, but those aren't available in the new House Labs, so I didn't want to grab those. I do really like that formula, and I want them to bring out a new version of it. So I'll do the Makeup Forever so you can kind of see what a real like cool tone looks like next to it. So this is Endless Cacao, which I can wear and I can shadow in my lips with, but it is much cooler, so I have to be more strategic. I can't like willy-nilly throw it around. So this is Endless Cacao, and again, it's more of a pencil type, like an actual wood pencil, so it's a more similar formula. It's maybe even no, I wouldn't say drier, it's pretty comparable. And you can see it's cool. I do wear it with a cool lip, or if I really want a shadow, I can even use it as like a contour basically. Really do like this formula because it's multi-purpose, but you can see this looks so much warmer in comparison to like cool tones, so I'm really happy to have neutral. I really want 2N now because that one looks a little bit even more brown. So I think it'll be kind of in between these two, and I want it. And this is the shade Anywhere Caffeine from Makeup Forever. And you can see it's kind of like Too Warm, but a little bit darker and a little more brown. I don't remember what they actually described the shade as, but if you have that, this is a pretty good comparison. And then I have 2 from Victoria Beckham. These are 1.14 grams. You actually get a little bit less with these. These are her lip definers, so I have shades 2 and 4. I like both of these. They both work really well for my lips as like a nude shade. Again, a pencil. So this is Victoria Beckham. This is 2, right? Yes, this is 2. I think this is supposed to be her lip shade. You can see it's very similar to Anywhere Caffeine, slightly less brown, but a little bit more brown than 2W, a little bit darker. I really want 3W. And then this is 4. And I would say the Lisa ones are a little more creamy than the Victoria Beckham. So if you've tried them for comparison, it's not as creamy as this, but it's creamier than either of these, I think. So you can see a little darker, a little bit more red-brown there. These two are starting to look very similar, Anywhere Caffeine and Victoria Beckham 2. But I do see in person a little bit more brown in the Makeup Forever. And then this is from Melt. This is their Perfectionist lip pencil in the shade Sepia, which is an olive tone, which is why I bought it. And this is, I would say, a little drier as well. So it's like a nice olive brown, but again, a little bit more cool. So you can see it's not as cool as this, not as neutral warm as this. And you can, especially if I hold it this way, you can really see the olive undertone in there, which is, as someone with an olive undertone, why I bought this. So hopefully that is helpful, and I will show you what these look like on the lips. So let's put the warm one on. So I had a little bit of lip oil on earlier, but that's it. So you can see a little warmer than my lip line, but as I blend it on, it might on camera look a little different, but in person it looks basically like my lip color. just because it's gonna reflect light differently than my lips will. And my lip is getting a little sweaty. It's warm in here. And I should have taken the sweatshirt off before I filmed. I should have changed. So that is one side of my mouth with 2W. So you can see it definitely adds some fullness and shapes the lip, which is, you know, sculpt and shade, exactly what she said. I think it definitely sculpts the lip. Very natural. And then if I want a little bit of a natural contour, I'll put one N on this side. So you can see it's looking a little bit more neutral cool against my lips and against my skin. Different than it looks here, just because, you know, it's gonna look different on the pigment of your skin versus the pigment of your lips because they're different colors. And in comparison to the warmth of my lips, it's looking a lot more cool. And it's definitely sculpting and adding a shadow. So those are the two. I really like both of these. I think I made good choices. I just want more of them now for different purposes. I'm gonna kind of even this out. These wear really well. I've worn them at work. You know, eating is definitely gonna make them come off some, but I feel like they last very well throughout the day. I'm just gonna put one of my candy glazes on. This is the shade 04. I don't remember the color. Works really well with them. I think these do exactly what they say. I think they are an expensive lip liner, but I really like the formula, and I think these are also all, well, the Melt one is the cheapest, but these are all pretty comparable price-wise, and it's just a really good formula. I really want more shades. If you have very, very dry lips, maybe try putting a lip oil or a lip balm on for a little while, letting it soak in, then using. But if you have extremely dry lips, you might not like it, and you might want to go for a more creamy formula, like her original one, the Enhance and Define. My brain keeps mixing up the names. Okay, so final thoughts. Final thoughts, I'll do mascara first. I really like it. I've been wearing it for 15 minutes now, I think. So you can see it has held a little bit of the curl here, just enough. It doesn't hold it like straight up, but it holds it really well, and it will last like this all day. I love it. I will rebuy this when mine dies. It's my new go-to mascara. I love the Surratt, especially the Surratt Lash Tint. That's probably my favorite mascara, and I really like the Isomea one too, but the Surratt Lash Tint is probably my favorite mascara, but it's $50. It's almost twice as much as this. So it's hard for me to buy that, but I do want another one of those. The next time they have a good sale, I will buy one, because I feel a little guilty asking for another one. The lip pencils, I just finished talking about those. I really like this. I think, you know, once it's set down, they do, you know, stay creamy enough, but they're not like, yeah, they stay creamy enough, and I think they don't dry down quite as much as the original. So you can see I'm rubbing that there, rubbing these. These are rubbing away a little bit more. I think they're not quite as long lasting as her other lip pencils, but they serve a different purpose, and I think they last fine. I love them. I'm planning on buying more. But I think it's really about finding like the right shade for you, especially because they're expensive. They come with a sharpener. You know, I just think finding the right shade is like the perfect thing. I think the best thing about them is it's a really great formula, but they're also very nuanced, kind of unique colors. Finally, the skin tint itself. So like I said, I did multiple wear tests. I've been wearing this for about a half an hour now. That's how long I've been filming, 33 minutes. This is what it looks like just sitting on my skin. I think it really soaks in, and it just looks like skin. I have a little bit of sweat on my upper lip, but because I have to close the windows to film so you don't hear road noise. It doesn't look like I'm wearing anything. I feel like some products, even skin tints, can look like you're wearing something. They can look very natural, but you can still kind of see that you're wearing something. This literally just looks like skin, and I've never worn something that looks this much like Sin. Like, I don't see it. I did do 2 wear tests, and I will scoot over and just have clips of that playing here. I did a couple check-ins like halfway through the day, 8 hours, 12 hours. So one day I wore it without skincare underneath. I, cleansed my face. That was about it. I didn't feel super dry. I did a mist of her spray, and which works really beautifully. And then I wore it. It wore very well. All day, I think about the halfway mark, about 4 hours or so, I did have to powder my nose. I felt like my nose was looking a little shiny. That does happen even on days I'm not wearing makeup. Partway through the day, sometimes I'm at work and I'm like, wow, my nose is shiny, and I will blot a paper towel on it or something, or powder it. I keep powder at work. Or use a nose blotter or something. So that's not unusual. I do think it looked great at 8 hours. I powdered it again at 8 hours because I had to go run around. I live in Capitol Hill, had to run around the hill, run errands for a couple hours. And I would say around that like 10-hour mark is when I started noticing it fading. I had spot concealed with the House Labs concealer, and I was starting to notice like just different levels of coverage. I would say for a skin tint that's this thin, this natural, this skincare focused, 10 hours before I really notice any issues is a really good deal. I think I did 12 hours that day, and I definitely had some on my face still. I had a little bit worn off in the middle. I think it looked great. The next day, I did try it with primer and powder. So I did use a little bit of my Surratt primer, which is an oil absorbing primer, but not like the most matte, which is why I like it. And I used that on my nose only, nowhere else on my face. And then I did powder right away, and I used a setting spray. So I just kind of went about my day like I normally would for makeup. And I think my skin looked even better that day. I didn't look shiny midday. I didn't have to touch up my powder at all. It looked great all day. I got home after 8.5 hours, 9 hours, still looked good. So I think if you are a little more on the oily side, like my nose is, having like setting spray or primer or something like that will extend the life. But I think even without that, it looked really good. I cannot recommend this enough if these are the things you like. So recommendations from me are always going to be very subjective on what is right for you. Is it right for you price-wise? Is $50 twice as much as you would ever spend on a skin tint? Then it's not right for you. If you're in the market for a luxury skin tint, then consider it. But then you have to consider, do you have dry skin? Do you have oily skin? What is your skincare routine? What level of coverage are you looking for? Do you want more coverage, or do you want something that just looks like you're wearing nothing? You have to take those factors into consideration before making a purchase for anything, but especially something like this. And I think if you want your day-to-day base to just look like you're not wearing anything at all, and you have, I feel like my friend, All Feisty, has drier skin. She's also been loving this. We've been talking on Instagram. I think Kelly she's only done one wear test that she talked to me about, or she did her video on, and she said it wore really well. I think she wore it for she said she started noticing fading after 6 or 7 hours. And then my friend Mickey, she has been having a little bit more issues. She's starting to notice fading around the 5-hour mark. So, but she has more oily skin. So I think if you're kind of like me, you're combo normal to dry, you're really gonna like this. If you're more oily, you might have some more troubles. We'll see what she thinks the longer she has it and the more ways she uses it. Hi, Bean. And then I know Hope Miss Tom bought it. They have oily skin. They haven't posted anything about this, and I haven't talked to them about it, but we'll see what they think, because they do have more oily skin. But I'm really excited to see what people think. But I think overall, people are, and my rice is done. Okay, so now that my dinner is done, ready to wrap this up. But I think this is a really phenomenal product. Really happy I bought this. I think about what if this is going to be right for you. But if this feels right for you, I think it's worth trying. I hope she does samples of it, kind of like she does for foundation. I think that would be great. But it's more It's easier to find a skin tone match because it's a sheer product, unlike her foundation, which has more coverage. So I don't think that's why she hasn't done it, but really love this. Think it's a beautiful formula. So let me know what you think. Have you already picked it up? Are you thinking about it? What do you think if you picked it up? I'm really curious to hear your thoughts about all of these products. As always, thank you so much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in my next video.